Today, we are going to update this incredibly boring, incredibly plain Jane, straight, nothing going on here, nothing to see but the crazy, and we are going to put some life into it. We're going to put some personality in it. We about to get fancy. I purchased this dresser at an auction, and it's a reputable auction. They've always had really good furniture there. It's always been very clean, little to no repairs. So I knew that this was going to be in good shape, but I still always give my furniture a good clean because you never know what furniture oils or candle waxes or things that might be on it that would keep paint from adhering. So I have scuff sanded and cleaned this piece before taking it to the next level. I've hooked up with a company called Would You Bend, and they make a ton of beautiful products, but the thing that I'm most drawn to are these incredibly cool wood moldings. You can take a flat piece like these drawers here and buy these corner pieces, and just wait until the end of this video to see how they, I was almost going to say pizzazz again, but y'all are probably tired of that word. But I mean, they're going to pizzazz it up. It's going to make it a completely different looking piece. The way these work is to lay them on the flat surface, preferably flat. If you're going to put them on these doors like I'm about to do here, gravity's going to fight against you. So I'm going to do the very best that I can, give this a good 100% coverage of Gorilla wood glue. You can use any kind of wood glue. This just happens to be what I have in my arsenal. And you can use a little artist brush or your finger, you know, that's what I had available here. And so that's where we're at. I put it on the door and I realized the gravity's going to be fighting me. So I took painter's tape and I'm going to tape the crap out of it. Now, if you're new at this, I recommend measuring vertically and horizontally to a middle point that you mark so that you know where your moldings are going to go. But, you know, if you're an old hat, you can basically eyeball it, which is what I'm doing here. I'd already moved this piece inside before I determined that I wanted it to have a wood top. But it's so heavy, I couldn't move it back outside by myself. And like I said, I don't like to wait for anything. So I decided to grab my gel stain and just put it over the top of this existing finish. That's the great thing about a gel stain. You can put it over a factory finish, primer, paint, it doesn't even matter. You're not going to get the wood grain if you don't sand down to the wood grain, but you will be able to get a beautiful wood tone out of it. And that's what we're going to go for here. So here you can see what it looks like with one coat of gel stain on this half. And then as we move across, you'll see the line here in the middle and then the original finish still there. So I'll end up putting 2 more coats of the darker finish on, and I'll mix in some streaks from a lighter color to kind of give it a natural wood pattern look. I don't know if you remember the original hardware that was on this piece, but it was super clunky. It looked like something that came out of a bull's nose if you're country like I am. I just really didn't like it. So I'm going to toss that and we're going to put new hardware on it. But when you have a piece of hardware that you're taking off and it already has 2 holes, it makes it really easy to put a new hole in because you basically just stick it in the middle or stick your drill bit in the middle and create your new hole before going back and covering up the 2 old holes. Now, I didn't decide to do this until I'd painted it already. Normally I would do this before, but again, here we are. I picked out a drill bit that is the same size as the screws to the new hardware I'm going to be putting in, so I made it easy. I always put painter's tape on the insides of the drawers to block the backs of the holes to keep any of the wood feeler I told y'all I was country. To keep the wood filler from coming through. I like Dixie Belle mud for this because it's a softer mud and you have a lot of working time with it. As opposed to Bondo, which is going to dry really fast, you'll have to make numerous small batches with it. This is just easier to work with in longer instances like this. I just grab a little sandwich bag, you cut the corner out of it, get your mud in there, and you can squeeze it into the holes just perfectly without the mess. So no fuss, you know? I'm all about that life. So funny story, I didn't actually record myself painting the piece, but to show you the technique that I used, we're gonna go with on the shutter. We're doing the 50-50 water vinegar mix, which creates a drippy finish. You can see the base layer through all of the layers that you put on top of it. You can put multiple. We're just gonna put one layer over the base layer because that's all we need on this piece. I'd also like to say that I've only ever had this work using chalk paint. If it's an acrylic based paint, it does not work as well. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put this second layer on, and then we're gonna spray it with a 50-50 water vinegar mix, and it's gonna start breaking apart because it's all scientific and crazy and cool, and it's gonna give us that drippy finish that we all know and love. Well, some of us. So I'm not giving this one full coverage. I want to see a lot of blue underneath. But if you just wanted a little peekaboo blue, then go full coverage, spray, and then once it starts to separate, you would just have a little bit of peekaboo. We're going for big peekaboo. All right. Feel like that's good. So the fun thing about this is that you can play with it. I'm going to use a little spatula. You can use your fingers, you can use a brush, but when I spray this, it's going to start to run. So you can just you can blot it with a paper towel. You just play with it to get it to where you want. And you know what? If you don't like it at all, wait until it dries and paint over it. It's really just that simple. Now we're going to sit here and wait. And if the pattern gets too uniform, of course you could come in and really mess with some people. I'll be honest, I did not play with the dresser as much as I've played with this door. It was more of a put it on, spray it, let it sit, let it run, but you get the picture. So it's best to do light over dark, like we did here, or dark over light, because you can get the contrast of the colors. If you did like a white and an off-white, you're not really going to be able to see the underneath coming through. So light over dark, dark over light, and then dark over light and light over dark. And you can build as many layers as you want to. So here it is a full day later. You can see where the paint has separated. It just kind of creates this little, almost a crackling effect. You see the blue peekaboo. And there's Chloe. Here is what the actual piece of furniture looks like with the same colors on it. Same technique on it, but we've got these great moldings, and I just felt like they needed a little more, say it with me now, pizzazz. You know what I'm saying? So I'm taking some black wax and I'm rubbing it in all of the details with a little detail brush. Then I'm wiping back with a baby wipe. A baby wipe is going to get all of this wax off. I do want to mention that I clear coated in all of the chalk paint so it's not porous anymore. Chalk paint is always porous, so anything you put on top of it is just going to suck it right in. If you clear coat that with any kind of a liquid top coat, it will seal off the porousness. And that's when you can add glazes or waxes or whatever extra gilding wax, whatever you want to add to it. And if you don't have any baby wipes, maybe you have some clear wax sitting around, because that's another trick that you can use. If you use a colored wax and you have a little bit too much on it, you can't get it off with just a lint-free cloth. If you add some clear wax on top of it, it will reactivate it, and then you can wipe it clear. When it comes to protecting all of my pieces, I do them basically all the same. I'll put a satin top coat on the body of the piece because it's a happy medium between a high gloss finish and a matte finish. But then for the top, I want something extremely durable. I prefer a water repellent because you don't know what people are going to be using on this thing. And then I apply it using a foam roller. Y'all know I am heavy-handed when it comes to brush strokes, and I want a spotless top on this piece. I don't want people to look at it and be like, oh, look, she missed a spot. Or, wow, that's rough there. Or, I've sanded back down so many pieces because I didn't get it right. I'm going to speed this up so that you can see how smoothly this dries. Let's take a moment to remember the before. And now the after. What do y'all think? Remember that wood top that we put gel stain on? This is 2 gel stains kind of mixed and streaked together to create a faux wood pattern. Look at that smooth finish. I'm telling you, foam roller every time. I will never go back to even spraying it because even a spray leaves it a little bit rough. But that foam roller, oh, just chef's kiss. And now it's question and answer time. What do you think of this drippy finish? Is this something that you would give a try on one of your own pieces, or do you prefer the natural wood finish? And what about these moldings? Do you love them, or do you think it's too much? What about the black wax? Would you have added black wax, or would you have left the moldings alone? And what about the hardware? Do you love the new hardware, or did you prefer the old hardware? Let me know in the comments what you guys think. This is totally my style of furniture. If I had room for this piece, it would be going in my house. But somewhat unfortunately, I refinish furniture for a living and don't have the space. Play hard, peace out!